Hello, my name is Nicole Graham and I'm a graduate teaching assistant in religious studies and global philosophies here at the University of Kent. Today I'm going to be giving you a glimpse of what a seminar in our department would look like, and we're going to have a look at the core module for religious studies and optional module for global philosophies called What is Religion? Now, as the name suggests, what this module seeks to do is interrogate our understanding of the term religion. It's a term we often take for granted and a term we tend to think we understand, particularly if we're going to be studying the subject. But it's really important that we challenge our use of the term and consider how we got to where we are today in our use. So in the seminar, we begin by considering what springs to mind when we think of the word religion. Does our understanding of religion centre on questions of belief or practice? Perhaps it's spirituality or the concept of a god? Is it our experience, our culture, or is it reliant on institutions? Does your understanding of religion require a god? Or what about multiple gods or goddesses? There have been many attempts to define religion, but understanding and defining religion has been and continues to be deeply contested. Each week throughout the module, we look at different definitions of religion. We interrogate them. What works about the definition? What doesn't work? How do we feel about it? We also need to consider the lens that is being used when these definitions are being created. Are they Western-centric? Are they written by someone of a particular faith or none? And how might that influence the position that's being adopted? On this slide, you can just see a few selections of definitions that we might consider during our seminars. But we also want to branch out a bit in our discussion. We want to think about religion in very broad terms. Bill Shankly, the Scottish footballer and ex-Liverpool manager, once said, "Football isn't a matter of life and death. It's much more important than that." So can we consider football to be a religion? Well, this is one of the debates that we'll have during the seminars. It could be argued that it is because it offers a sense of collective emotion, a sense of community. Could it be argued that it's a quasi-mystical experience, that there's a loss of selfhood? We see rituals in the practices of both fans and footballers. There's reverence for managers, and superstitions surround our engagement in the game. I know, for example, in my own experience when I was growing up, you can probably guess the team that I support if you can spot the stadium on the slide. But we had a real reverence whenever Alex Ferguson was on the television. There was an expectation that there would be complete silence when the boss was speaking. And we were also quite superstitious, so if someone was in a different room when Manchester United scored, then they'd be expected to stay in the room until there was a change of fortunes potentially in the game. So it's important to consider the place of football and whether it does fall under the category of religion. And we'll reach different views on that. We can then branch this question out onto other experiences that we might be familiar with. Can we say going to a concert is a religious experience? What about mindfulness, so potentially the practice of yoga or meditation? What about identifying as a Jedi or even veganism? You may have heard recently that ethical veganism has been ruled to be a philosophical belief in recent UK court case. It's been granted the same position as religious beliefs in terms of employment rights. And this just demonstrates the possibilities that academic considerations of terms like religion can have in terms of real life impacts. So we'll consider whether any of these purportedly secular cases change our understanding of religion. It's important to ask, though, can we separate things like mindfulness and meditation from their religious roots? Seminars are a really good opportunity for us to have some debate, to see what different scholars think and to decide where we align in terms of their thinking. So, for example, we might look at J.Z. Smith's quotation that says, "Religion is not a native term. It is a term created by scholars for their intellectual purposes and therefore is theirs to define." And we could contrast that with David Chichester, who says that the terms religion and religious do not belong solely to the academy. Outside of the academic arena, these terms have been taken up and mobilized in conflicts over legal recognition and political empowerment. They have been entangled in historical struggles of possession and dispossession, inclusion and exclusion, domination and resistance. So do you think our understanding of religion belongs inside or outside the university sphere? Indeed, do we need the term religion? Is it a valid analytical category? Is there a better alternative? We'll then consider, is religion different from spirituality? Do you think there's a difference? Does your perception of religion or spirituality differ? Do you have more positive or negative connotations attached to either of these terms? And if so, what does that tell you about the lens in which you're studying religion? We can also consider how we understand the term sacred. How can we understand the relationship between sacred and religion? Take a moment to think, what is sacred to you? Perhaps it's what you expected, or perhaps it isn't. If you're interested in hearing how different people define the sacred before you come to the University of Kent, that is, then why not have a listen to Theos's The Sacred Podcast? The series features interviews with a range of guests who each explore what they hold sacred and consider how more constructive conversations about the sacred can be held in today's society. Our very own Lois Lee has been featured in this series, and it can be downloaded for free through forums like iTunes, although other providers are available. So then ultimately at the end of the module, we return to the question, what is religion? Now, hopefully, having considered different examples, looked at different definitions, we'll be in a place to recognise at least the challenge of defining what we mean by religion. We might have been forced to redefine religion based on what we felt in week one, or how we understood the term in week one, and how we feel about it at the end of the term. And hopefully we recognise the importance of considering the lens with which religion is looked at. Who is offering us the definition? And what does that mean for the definition? Now, I must warn you that although we will have lots of answers by the end of the module, it may also raise more questions. And those questions will be really important for you and offer a great grounding and foundation for the rest of your degree here at Kent. Thank you very much for listening and hearing a glimpse of what a seminar might look like. Obviously, it'll be much more interactive because you'll be speaking to other students throughout the seminar, having group work, individual discussions, pair work, in order to get answers to some of the questions that were raised today. But if you do have any questions, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you very much for listening.